Yo, what's up everybody? This is the second part of my analysis of the Shanghai Dragons during the Nexus Cup, this time when they were playing against the Seoul Dynasty. I thought the Shanghai Dragons were an incredible team last year. They were, not quite favorites to win, but they certainly could have been. They could have won the entire tournament last year. And coming into this year, they've made a couple changes. So I wanted to follow them in the Nexus Cup and see how well they've been doing. So without any further ado, let's kind of crack on with it. Again, another shout out to your main man, Avril, who's been locking this down. I've stolen the VODs from his Twitch here to analyze them in a little bit more detail because I'm doing some VOD analysis because it's happening at the dark hours of the night. Now, spoiler alert here. The Seoul Dynasty end up taking this match. And with how well the Shanghai Dragons played in the previous day against the Dallas Fuel, that was a little bit of a surprise to me. So I had a keen focus on what were the Dynasty doing well in this match to shut down the Dragons' win conditions. And I think the number one thing that cropped up repeatedly, or there's actually two main things, and they're called Fits and Profit. And the first one I want to focus on is Fits. Normally, Lip would be considered by far and away the better Sombra of the two. Lip is in the candidacy for best Sombra in the world. I think he was the best Sombra in the world last year. But when you have so much notoriety on a hero, your tendencies get figured out quite easily. And I think the Seoul Dynasty came into this match with a fantastic understanding of what Lip wanted to go for and a plan to shut him down at basically all occasions. So let's take a look. We're starting out with a beautiful play from Fitz, where you get to this kind of situation. It's about 35% on the point for the Shanghai Dragons. They're staying in control. The Dragons always like to hammer home their advantages. So Lip's first EMP, Fitz knows he's somewhere near it because Fitz isn't 90% himself. In fact, Fitz probably thinks he's pretty much got it because Lip's always so fast with the generation. But they know that they're going to go for some aggressive EMP play once it's active. That's just the style of Shanghai. So Fitz comes out with a miracle here. Not just a miracle, but like a miracle makes it feel like you couldn't reproduce it. This is reproducible. That's what's so fantastic about this. So let's take a look. Lip is trying to build it up. He's spamming to you. He's moving forwards. 99%. He goes into stealth form, gets around behind them, and he has the EMP. Now, Fitz has just generated his EMP as well. The crucial difference here is that Fitz is playing with his team. He's playing defensive Sombra. And let me move this VOD along the slightest bit so you can see them both. Here is Fitz right there. Fitz has been playing with the rest of his team. Again, apologies for the awful bitrate. He's been spamming the players towards the back of the point, and he's been trying to generate his EMP up. Lip, because he has to go in stealth and has to get behind the rest of his team, doesn't have the same resources to be able to play with. And so this is kind of the style that Fitz was playing. With his team, quite condensed, doesn't want to build up EMPs too quickly. He just wants to try and shut down the players that go aggressively from the Shanghai Dragons. And boy, oh boy, does he do it here. As Lip comes out of stealth, immediately Fitz locks eyes with him, and this is what Fitz has been waiting for. Fitz immediately pops EMP, a solo EMP, just to cancel Lip's EMP. He knows that Lip is going to EMP as soon as he comes out of the translocator, or rather, sorry, comes out of the stealth form, although it would have been the same with the translocator as well. And Fitz, because he isn't in stealth, he doesn't need to be because he's playing with his team, has a much faster trigger time to be able to activate that. He's always going to be able to beat him. What I love about this play, if I just wind it back and play it for you again, is that we've seen people canceling EMPs before in OWL, but a lot of the time it just seemed kind of accidental, like they were both going for it once and it was just whoever hit the trigger. This is not. This is Fitz deliberately waiting for Lip to go for this play and then solo EMPing him, finding that win condition and winning this map because of that. If they had hit that EMP, if Lip hits that EMP, they win Night Market. And they ended up losing it. And you can see here as we head on to the next stage that the Seoul Dynasty were up 1-0. Just, I mean, I'm not going to say just based off the back of that, but that was an enormous momentum shifter right there. And it's something that made Lip, I think, more tentative to go for those aggressive plays throughout because Fitz was waiting for him. Fitz was ready. Okay, so let's take a look at this. We're again going to see a highlighted play from Fitz here as Fitz gets a hack onto Fate towards the back, and Fitz and Profit both just make sure that they destroy Fate out on the side. Getting pocketed from 2U to make sure that he can get off those free hacks onto Fate, and then burning him down with Fitz and Profit. And you're going to see throughout this clip as well that once Fitz gets up his EMP, Fitz just uses his EMP onto Fate again when he comes back into the fight. So Seoul Dynasty, they're at 99%. They've done really well, even right from the beginning of this. And it's a combination of Fitz and Prophet, where Fitz has the shutdown on everybody who could be a threat, and Prophet is therefore enabled. Look at that, the solo EMP. And Prophet just cleans up everybody. He gets 3 kills, I think, over the course of this team fight, and he's just crazy on the Tracer. Just absolutely bonkers on Tracer. But the reason that Prophet doesn't have to worry about anything is because Fitz is so on the ball with shutting down Lip and Fate repeatedly when they go for those kind of plays. All right, so this is Volskaya. This is the Shanghai Dragons' best map. This is where, recently anyway, Sebiobi has been getting subbed in to little avail. It was actually the map that it's the only map, I think, that the Seoul Dynasty have lost in both of these matches that they played. But let's take a look at what happens at the opening fight here, again with a focus onto Fitz. We want to be paying attention here, actually to Lip's position originally, because he's the guy that ends up getting countered by Fitz here. So Lip is on defense, hacks up the pack. He's going to move around towards the right-hand side. He has his translocator set down, over in the barrels towards that kind of area, the very classic spot for the Sombras. But for whatever reason, he's not able to translocate away to it. Maybe he just gets caught unawares. And as we flick over to the next POV, okay, you're going to be able to see right here that you might have been paying attention to it up here as well. Lip got hacked, and that's a combination, once again, of 2U's defense matrix being here and Fitz getting the old and there's nothing that the Sombra can do other than translocate, which Lip, unfortunately, a big mistake here, chose not to do. I'm saying it's a big mistake as well because I believe that he did have Translocator down and it couldn't have been broken by Sebiobi because Sebiobi was nowhere near it. But it is possible in some of these plays as well that the Sombras, it's like a coordination of someone breaking the Translocator and someone else getting the hack. But I don't think that was the case in this instance. I think it was just a mistake from Lip. And again, nice pocketing where the Diva is syncing up with the Sombra to allow for these free hacks where you can't get interrupted by the other Sombra or the ball doing damage to you. Okay, so that leads to a very early kill onto Lip, and the Shanghai Dragons, unfortunately, end up... actually, no, they end up... Sorry, let me get my story straight here. I've just remembered how the game went. So even with that pick onto Lip, Dragons are just way better at Volskaya. When I was watching this game, Dragons are better at every other aspect of Volskaya. They're better at the positioning. It's their best map. They squeeze people out. Their coordination is fantastic. And they didn't have Prophet to just go beast mode in this game. So Sebiobi wasn't quite up to the same level. So even though I'm pointing out the good thing that the Dynasty did, it didn't result in a map win for them because even when they're making the right plays, it just wasn't enough to overcome the raw fundamental positioning work that the Dragons are the best in the world at on Volskaya. Okay, so this is now the Dragons attacking on Volskaya. And this is towards the tail end of a failed fight. You can see that Fate died, a couple of other players died, but Lip is still behind. And I want to, again, put focus on like how much they're trying to shut down Lip. You saw how much they were trying to shut down Lip in that previous engagement. Well, now watch it again. Lip is towards the backside. He gets a bit of damage, translocates away, and what you'll notice here if you pay attention to the top left up here where Lip's health is that he's getting chunked down. Now, the guy that's chunking him down is Fitz, who's run around and he's just man-marking him, and there's nothing that Lip can do to be able to get away because he's used his translocator, he's deep in enemy territory, and Fitz just dunks on him because he's so aware of where Lip is going to be, and they know that that's the win condition for the Dragons. So Fitz played very, very well, very intelligently. Had a great game plan from him and the rest of the Dynasty moving into this game. And he basically, in this next team fight, just hides for a counter EMP onto Lip as well. I'm going to flick it forward 10 seconds here as well. And we're just paying attention to Fitz's positioning because, again, the theme of this match was that Fitz was playing the counter Sombra. He wasn't really making plays himself other than to try and shut down Lip and Fate with the rest of his team. They weren't really going for aggressive EMPs and that kind of stuff. So you can see Fitz is just hiding right now. I don't know whether you can quite tell, but that is Fitz. He's just hiding in a corner. He's waiting for Lip to come in and EMP, and then he's going to spring out from around the corner, having avoided LOS, and he's going to try and EMP the rest of the Dragons to allow them to survive in the fight. So here's Fitz POV. Lip gets his EMP. Lip's EMP gets popped. It goes on to 2U only, I think. And then Fitz pops his EMP. It's a much better EMP coming out from the Seoul Dynasty. But look at how good the Dragons are just here with their fundamentals. Even though they get kind of... even though they get EMP'd, and the EMP is so much better, the tank gameplay is just phenomenal here from Shanghai. The mines go out here to just create a blockade, and they're able to use this to rotate around and isolate individual picks onto the backline. Creative and Animo just get swarmed by all the rest of the Dragons. They take their time, they use the resources available for them to be able to extend the team fight and outlast the AMP, and then their focus fire and their rotations are just so much better on Volskaya, and Creative and Animo just get stomped on here. Look, I mean, there's nobody that can help Animo, and Creative is dead, and the rest of their team is just out. Like Sebiorbi and Fitz and Marvel are just all on this side of the point, and Dragons have completely outdone them. So even though the ideas were great here for the Dynasty on Volskaya, the Dragons are just way too better at the fundamentals of the game when it comes to this map. So let's move on. The next map, when it was stuck to 1-1, was Hollywood, and Prophet comes back in. And this is really where I want to focus on Prophet, because my god, the man is an animal when it comes to the Tracer. So he's just been killed in this fight. First death, and the Seoul Dynasty are going to have to give up. Really nice engagement coming out here from the Dragons. They push in, they get a lot of work done. They've got it down, so they've killed both of the tanks, and they've killed Prophet. So there's only the backline and Fitz left alive right now. And so you're thinking, okay, the Seoul Dynasty are going to have to retreat. No. They do a Shanghai Dragons here, where they come back in with the Transcendence. Creative's going to burst his trance, because they believe in the ability for Prophet and Fitz to win this fight that much. And so as the trance comes back in, Dragons are forced to give a little bit of room and just watch Prophet. I mean, actually, that's all I need to say. Just watch Prophet. He comes in, destroys Fate. They immediately take Fleder out of his form, pulse bomb onto Izayaki, destroyed. Prophet's 9 HP going for the health pack, finds Ligia gone, gets knocked down to another like 2 HP, outplays the shit out of Ligia gone. Yeah, and Avrol's losing his mind, rightly, because that is an insane play from Prophet. He's nasty good for them on this map. So we're going to carry on watching into this next fight as well, because this is where the Seoul Dynasty go for a rare aggressive EMP play, because there's only a minute left on the clock. They want to keep the Shanghai Dragons on the back foot. EMP comes out. Look how quickly Izayaki died there, because Prophet is there, ready to follow up on Fitz EMP immediately. He just ints towards him. Izayaki's dead. Oh, who's the next player you want me to kill, huh? Okay, Ligia gone? Sure. Who next? Oh, the D-Mech on the Void? Yeah, absolutely, I'll do that. Prophet is an animal, unleashed. And the coordination there was fantastic, actually, between Fitz EMP and then Prophet and Gesture just coming through, immediately able to destroy them. Hollywood wasn't even a contest. Seoul Dynasty had it in the bag. And also, I added in these little clips from Gibraltar too, where, okay, I don't think that Dynasty won Gibraltar so much as Dragons threw it away. The Dragons don't look like they're very solid at the moment with this Winston Zarya lineup. Void wasn't getting almost any value compared to, he's literally the best off tank in the game, and he was getting very little value in this team comp. And it seems like Fleder's Echo was not able to do enough in this team comp. If they'd been playing it with the Tracer, maybe, but then they're worried about taking the head-to-head against Prophet, I think. The reason that I want to bring up these clips at the end, though, is we have to stop. Guys, we have to stop with the Prophet is bad at Echo talk. He was bad when it first came out, but he's legitimately better than, like, most Echoes now. He thoroughly outplayed Fleder when it came to this map. Anytime they're in an Echo head-to-head, he was beasting on him. So I've just put together a little kind of montage of the good moments from Fleder here, of which there were many. Here, just a coordinated push with him and 2U as they push towards the top. There's Prophet, there's 2U. He comes in, just lasering everybody down. Easy kills onto Void and Fleder just to storm through, and they take point A very easily. Then we move on, and in this scenario, you're going to have to keep your eyes peeled a little bit, but here's Prophet, right, over here. And what you'll also see is he's dueling Lip on the Sombra. And so he's just taking basically a straight up 1v1 with Lip at 96% of his EMP, and presumably this has been coordinated with Fitz breaking Lip's Translocator, because Prophet is Prophet gets that 1v1 kill onto Lip, takes him down, so they have the advantage in the fight by a long way. And then Prophet flanks around the side, takes a bit of healing there from Animo. And this is... let me see if the bitrate will allow it. Here's Prophet again, right? He's got the Harmony Orb on him, and he's about to go and duel Fletter inside the server room. So you can see it through the wall here. The Prophet just meows straight into server room as soon as he sees that Fletter's alone. He hits, I think, sticky bombs and then a focusing beam, and he just destroys Fletter. He actually just rolls Fletter in the 1v1. So Prophet's just taken out both of their DPS. Without too much coordination there, he just took the heals, the Harmony Orb, and then a pack from Animo, and he just finds the opportunities to destroy the dragons. And then, of course, he goes over to the Winston, finds a kill towards the end here with the Primal Rage, which, you know, it's just a cute little kill towards the end on Izayaki. This next play, though, from Prophet, the final one that I want to show in this collection of the Dragons versus the Dynasty, is nuts. This is Prophet again. Void getting very little value on the Zarya, comes back in for one final fight, even though Fate's moved over to the Wrecking Ball. And he's like, I've got to use my Grav. He has 0 energy. He grabs, and it actually finds 2 players. It finds Tuyu, and it finds Prophet here, caught in the Grav. Tuyu and Prophet. Prophet immediately uses the duplicate onto Void and bubbles both him and Tuyu inside the Grav to make Void utterly useless. Bubbles come out, laser down, Void is dead. Viva la Prophet Echo. He has, in my opinion, certainly got it to a point where his Echo is serviceable at Owl, and it looks like it's going to actually be a strong pick for him in the future. So this should not be something that worries people going forwards. But that combination of the game plan of Fitz shutting down Lip and Fate, and then also Prophet's insane play on the Tracer, and then very good play on the Echo in the final map, combined with a bit of a failure from the Dragons to properly understand and master the double bubble composition, led to a confident win there for the Seoul Dynasty. Something that I was certainly not expecting coming into this season, being that confident. A shout out as well to Tuyu, who looked good. I was a little concerned that they wouldn't run Tuyu very much, that maybe they'd try and force Marvel on the off tank, even though it doesn't make any sense. Thankfully, we saw a rotation of Marvel and Gesture at the main tank, and Tuyu being the solid off tank. This is all positive stuff for the Seoul Dynasty moving forwards, and I'm excited about the APAC region, because Dallas is supposed to be like 4th best in North America, and at the moment, pretty much all of the APAC teams are better than them. So Dallas are obviously going to be working in the offseason, getting a lot better. Their teamwork needs improving, and I'm sure that they'll do that. But it's very promising. It's a very promising sign that the strength of APAC is still going to be very much intact. Adding to that the successes of the Guangzhou Charge actually in this tournament too, which I haven't dug into too much, though I have watched the VODs and was pretty impressed by them. And the rumors about NYXL being good. And you've got yourselves a very competitive season next season, judging by the signs so far.